Last time the beautiful proxy beast met a charming prince and they fell in love. They really, really fell in love. 9 months later, a little bundle of joy appeared, and he began to grow and grow, and then his paint started coming in, and he vowed he would get back at his father who abandoned him. This is his story. Welcome back, guys. This time we're going to have a Grail quest practice game. It's going to be Orcs and Goblins versus Warriors of Chaos, 2,500 points. Now let's take a look at my army. This time I'm testing out a Comp 11 list, whereas last time I was Comp 12. The main thing I've done differently is I have 2 Doom Divers now instead of just 1, and I have an Orc Warlord instead of a Savage Orc. And I've also I've got my level 3 instead of my level 4, and I have the 2 level 1s. That still lets me have 5 levels of magic. It still mostly guarantees I'll get the 3 spells I want the most. And also I have to take regular goblins instead of night goblins because for some reason night goblins without upgrades are comped worse than goblins, which really makes no sense. It's their upgrades that make night goblins better. That's my rant about that. For this game, I'll be taking on Ben's Warriors of Chaos. This is very similar to the list he took Novacon. He has said that his Novacon list would have been a -7 under comp, but to try to make it a little bit more balanced towards my 11 I was taking, he made a few changes that, upped his score. I think he said it was an 8 or a 9, and basically to go from -7 to like 8, he does a few things. Mainly, start off with his second Chimera is coming from Storm of Magic, so it's not comped at all. It doesn't have regen, but it still has the breath weapon and stuff like that. But it also doesn't. His wings doesn't count against his comp. He also took the wings away from his Demon Prince, and I think he said his Demon Prince had a breath weapon before, and he doesn't have that now. So this will mean he's only comped on 2 flyers instead of 4, and he doesn't have any breath weapons because his Storm of Magic Chimera doesn't count towards comp. And I think he only has marks of Slanesh. He has no marks of Nurgle, and not sure what else he changed, but those. Also he took the 3+ ward away from his BSB. He has a 4+ ward, rerolling 1s. So that's another thing that really improved his comp score. So now instead he has a very tough list, which is like an 8 or a 9, and it's still very, very scary, but it's not -7, which is horrible, and makes baby orcs cry. And so the scenario we're going to test out is scenario 1 from the Grail Quest Players Pack. And for this one you get +1 battle point for each unit of 5 or more models that you can get into the enemy deployment zone at the end of the game, to a maximum of 2. You also get 2 points if you have no enemies units or 5 or more models in your deployment zone at the end of the game. And you get +1 for killing the enemy general. So here we have a wide view of the deployment, and maybe if I was playing in a real tournament game, if I saw this, I might have dwarfed it up in the corner here behind that hill. And here's a closer up view of his deployment, and I want to note that on the left, that Chimera on the left is the one without regen. That's the Storm of Magic Chimera, and the one on the right is the regular Warriors of Chaos book Chimera with regen. I don't think it had a breath weapon though. And we have a quick look here at the left side vanguards. In this picture you can see the vanguards on the other side of the table. I moved my wolfires around pretty much facing his dogs, because otherwise his dog can go right around my goblins mostly and try to claim battle points, and I lose battle points if he has my deployment zone and he gains them. So I have like a reason to try to go after those dogs. This is just an early pick of his movement. At the upper top there, he hasn't moved those dogs down yet. He's going to move them so they're on the side of my goblins where my wolf riders can't really see them yet. and going into Magic, he puts Phantasmagoria on my Wolf Riders, and I let that go, and I just dispel ice, and I think it's ice shards or whatever the little magic missile is instead. But when we go into shooting his Hell Cannon, most of my stuff's immune to psychology, so he shoots my little goblin unit, and he panics them, and they run off the table. But this lets my Wolf Riders see his dogs, so before I couldn't see his dogs. So Orc and Goblin turn 1, my Savage Orcs begin the game by feeling animosity. However, I roll a 6, so I do get a regular move. I have to move towards his BSB. But after I've moved my full 4 inches, I'm still 16.5 inches away from the BSCB, so I can't declare a charge on it. But I still get to move normally. So I'm not forced to make a long charge. But still, I've moved 4 inches up that I really didn't want to have to do. So then I charge my Wolf Riders at his dogs, but I fail 2 dangerous terrain going through the woods, and I panic, and I run away from his BSB. I don't make it to the Spirit Checker, but that Spirit Checker had panicked when the goblins ran off the table earlier. So otherwise, my bunker had also failed animosity, and my Black Orc had to kill a couple of Savage Orcs in there. Otherwise, I've moved up some. I have my Wolf Riders blocking his chariots. When we go into Magic, my level 1 Savage has Foot of Gork. I put all 1 dice into that. I stomp down. I have it where it's touching his Gorbius chariot and one of his regular chariots, one of his slanted chariots. I stomp down 4 times. In 4 times, 1 time it scatters, I get 3 direct hits. I don't do a single wound to that Gorbius chariot. And I only do 3 wounds to his other chariot. So with 3 direct stomps, 3 wounds to 1 chariot. And then the spell goes away. I had miscast. So a miscast gives my level 1 a wound, and I kill about, I think, 3 Savage Orcs. Savage Orc Biggins for the miscast. Other than that, I give Fist of Gork to my level 3 Shaman. Going into shooting, both my Doom Divers try to shoot his Demon Prince. 1 scatters off onto his Chimera, and I only do 1 wound to the Chimera. The other one scatters off wildly, and I'm not able to scatter back to the Demon Prince. I shoot both my Chukkas. I think they both shoot the Demon Prince, and neither one of them does anything. So that was very unfortunate. So Warrior's turn 2, and he has a massive amount of charges. First, his Wolves on the far left try to charge one of my Spirit Chukkas, and they fail. His Chimera charges into my Spine Chaos Beast. It makes it. He has a Chariot also try to charge there, and it fails. His Demon Prince tries to charge my Troll. It only needs to roll 3. I say roll double 1s. He rolls double 1s and fails. All of his Chariots charge as Wolf Riders. I mean, I was just trying to hold those Chariots back. Then he charges his BSB at my Biggins, and he also tries to charge the Skull Crushers at my Biggins, and the Skull Crushers fail. So now his BSB is stuck there without the Skull Crusher support. Other than that, I think that's all his charges. I mean, it's a massive amount of charges to start off his turn. I don't really remember him doing anything for Magic, but I know in shooting, his Hell Cannon lands directly on one of my Doom Divers and destroys it. So that's not good. His Hell Cannon's been on fire. And this is with me almost having everything with immune psychology to keep him from trying to panic my guys off the board, but he's still just taking out things left and right with that Hell Cannon. So when we go into combat, we start off with my Spine Beast versus his Chimera, and with me having always strikes first and re-rolling the hits, I kill his Chimera before it can even strike. Going to the next one where it's his BSB, he has to issue a challenge, and I think about it and I answer it with my War Boss, and I really shouldn't have. I was thinking, the only chance I have of actually winning the combat was I figured he might do 1 wound or 2 wounds at the most to my War Boss, and I would win the combat, and maybe I could get him to flee and he'd automatically die. But what happens instead is he does 1 wound with his disc, which I wasn't expecting, that I don't save. He has a great weapon with his guy, so I strike back. I'm able to get 1 wound through with my War Boss, but then when he strikes back with his great weapon guy, he does like 3 more wounds. I only save 1 of them with my ward save, and he kills my War Boss. I still win the combat by Musician, but I've lost my War Boss. The good news is that he does break even though he has the reroll, and he automatically dies. I'm still forced to pursue because he just has to break from combat before he dies. So I'm forced to pursue because I'm frenzied, so I move up. Going to the last combat, I just pick my Wolf Riders up because I know they're dead, and he tries to overrun because he's trying to get some things into my Savage Biggins, but nothing makes it. So now I'm going on Orc and Goblin turn 2 with my general dead. My trolls are all pretty much, stomped now. They're not going to pass stupidity most likely, and this hurts me because now my single troll that I wanted to charge into one of those chariots to hold it off from coming on my Biggins, it's not going to be doing anything. I can't support my other troll unit. So I figure I might as well go ahead and just charge my Biggins into his Gorbeast chariot, because that'll be like one less chariot and maybe I'll have to worry about impact hits, because I'm afraid that he'll have either 2 chariots and his Skull Crushers, or 1 chariot and his Demon Prince and Skull Crushers come into my Biggins next turn along with the Gorbeast. So I figure at least if I can kill the Gorbeast chariot, overrun to the next second chariot or the Skull Crushers, I'll stop some impact hits and do something. So going into Magic, get Hanagork, the big one, off on my trolls. I got them up there in front of the Skull Crushers, so they'll have to charge the trolls before they can get to the Biggins. And I'm also trying to protect the flank of my Biggins from the Chimera and the Hell Cannon he has. And also I charge my Spawn Beast at his other chariot, just because I figure I'll kill it and I'd be another less chariot to worry about with my Biggins. Going into shooting, my Doom Diver misfires, and I think I can't shoot this the next turn. But one of my Chuckers does hit his chariot. It has 1 wound left on it, and I'm able to destroy it. So that's one more thing I don't have to worry about. Then when we go into combat, I do destroy his Gorbeast chariot. I actually run it. When it breaks, I actually run it down, and I overrun into the Skull Crushers. So I don't have to worry about them charging. But embarrassingly, my Spawn Beast only does 1 wound to his other chariot. He does 2 wounds back to me with crew and horses that I don't save. So this is a 2-2 tie, and embarrassingly, my Spawn Beast cannot kill that chariot. So going into Warriors turn 3, versus the matchup we've all been waiting for, Father versus Son. The Demon Prince charges my Duke of Orc Spine Chaos Beast, and he also charges that chariot there at my beast. It doesn't look like it's in contact just because the weapon there is kind of blocking him from being able to rank up properly. He also charges each one of his dog units at one of my Spirit Chuckers, and he charges Hell Cannon at my trolls. And in Magic, all he really does is he puts Phantasmagoria on my single troll, and I think that's about it. Going into combat, my Savage Orc Biggins, they break and run down his Skull Crushers, but he gets away with his last guy. But then his Hell Cannon attacks my trolls, just does 2 wounds. I think I have like 6 vomits, or maybe all 8 vomits or whatever, onto his Hell Cannon. I decided, to do all the vomits. I figure I'll at least do 2 wounds, and it'll be a draw, because I'll have a rank and 2 wounds, he'll have a charge and 2 wounds. But I only do 1 wound, so I'll lose by 1, because I knew if I lose, I'm going to break without my general being alive anymore. So I do lose, I break, and he runs my trolls down. Going to the last, like both my Chuckers lose to his dogs. Going to the last combat, just for my Spine attacks to start the combat off, I destroy both his chariots, but I do no damage to his Demon Prince with the Spine attacks. So I strike first against his Demon Prince. I do absolutely nothing. He strikes back and does 2 more wounds to me. I've won combat, but he's unbreakable. Going into Orc and Goblin turn 3, my Savage Orcs have gotten so far out of position, I know they really can't come back and protect my bunker anymore, so I go ahead and charge them at the Fleeing Skull Crusher, and he runs off the table. Other than that, my troll actually passes stupidity, but he doesn't have a charge arc to charge the Demon Prince. So when we go into Magic, my Foot of Gork is facing the wrong way, so I can't do anything with that. I really have nothing to do in Magic. I think I tried to put Fist of Gork on my Great Shaman. Again, he had dispelled it, but I don't. And we're shooting. My Doom Driver still can't shoot. I have 1 Chucker. It shoots at the Demon Prince and does nothing. So the only combat is going to be the Father versus Son. I still do. I think I maybe do one wound to his Demon Prince this time, but he kills my Spine Beast. So going into Warriors turn 4, he charges the Demon Prince at my bunker. His Chimera fails a charge, or I think he just flies it over and lands it there. He charges his wolves into my Doom Diver, and so going all the way into combat here, I just issue the challenge of my level 1 Shaman just to draw this out, and he kills a level 1 Shaman. He kills my Doom Diver. So I mean, things are looking bleak. I still have a lot of points on the table, but I know this bunker's dead, and with it, that's gonna be my BSB and my level 3. So Orcs and Goblins turn 4, and of course my Savages fell Animosity, so they can't even reform. They're forced to squabble out there in the middle of nowhere. So any hope of me getting them back into the battle to maybe fight the Hell Cannon and trying to make this game a little bit closer, it's gone now. We're going into the combat here, because all I have, I think, is with the one Chukka. It doesn't do anything. My trolls fell on stupidity. So we got this last combat. I accept a challenge with my level 3 Shaman, just to to make it last longer. He kills level 3 Shaman. I stick. But when we're going here into turn 5. I think we thought this was turn 5, so we thought we only had turn 6 left. But either way, basically what's going to happen the rest of the game is he's going to charge his Chimera and his Hell Cannon in my bunker. That bunker's dead. I can't in one turn get my Savages. I mean, on turn 5, maybe I can reform, and on one turn, I cannot get my Savages into the combat with anything. So the game will end with my bunker being dead. So all I have else left is my single troll and my Wolf Riders. He can destroy them if he wants to. That's not going to change the outcome of the game. So we decided to call it there, thinking that's turn 5. But either way, it's working out here to a 12-8 victory for the Warriors. He's up by about 560, I think. So even if he destroys the Wolf Riders and the Troll, it's not going to change things. I really have no other way to get any more points back. Maybe if my general's still alive, it would be close to a draw, but then, he can still kill the Troll and the Wolf Riders and make it 11-9. So either way, that's the way things are going to work out. He's going to get 2 bonus points. He gets 1 for killing my general, 1 for having his warriors. They make it all the way slowly. Those little 10 warriors slowly made it across the battlefield, got in my deployment zone. And then I have my Savages in his deployment zone, so I get 1 battle point. So after that's all added up, it'll be 14-9. So I'd like to thank you guys for listening to another battle report. And unfortunately, the Duke of Orc did not get revenge against his father for abandoning his mother. But he's going to regrow back, and he'll be back. So don't worry, he'll get revenge one day. And I'll have another battle report up against Once Bitten up the next few days. And you've probably already watched his version, and you probably think there's no surprises. But my version is going to be completely different. I'm going to be in 3D. I'm going to have all new deleted scenes, alternate angles. And I think I win in my version. So stay tuned for that. So thanks again, guys, for listening, and feel free to subscribe or comment or like, and I'll see you guys next time.